Hello and welcome back to the Godot community. My name is Sahir Dean. I'm the virtual PLC lead for our high school 2D art. In today's webinar, I'm going to share painting day tips that you can use for doing murals, community murals at your school or in your local community. As shared in my last webinar, these are tips shared from a professional development session that I went to or that we had in my county. This presentation was developed by Lynn Hatcher. Thank you so much, Lynn. She is art teacher at Milton High School. So one tip is to have a person in charge of the paint and the refills. So this could be, if you're thinking about students, giving them responsibility. You can think of a really cool name, especially when you're thinking about younger kids. But a way for them to really own that job and responsibility can be a great way to avoid, I'm out of blue, where's the blue? But that student will be in charge of just guarding and making sure that everybody has enough paint. Definitely you want to number the cups and the containers so that the colors match on your plan. So having all the threes together and numbered clearly. That way, as people come in or as they, run out of paint, they can easily go back to the paint station and just get what they need. And then, of course, in that same vein, making sure you have enough brushes for each color to avoid dipping the yellow into the blue, so on and so forth. So having a clear plan, enough brushes, and enough paint for all the people that you're inviting in. Another tip is to make several copies of the design so that you can lay around and keep taped up. That way, if something is off or somebody needs to see or wants to see like the finished design, just for reference, they can easily go back in and they're not looking for like the one single sheet of paper. Also, this will make it easier for people to rotate in and out as they need breaks. But again, people are not tied to that one sheet of paper that can easily get lost. It's in several locations. That way it's just convenient. Think about height and safety. So plan ahead and make sure you get a ladder if you need to. Protect the baseboards and floors with either paper and or painter tape or drop cloths. This is a really big one, especially if you want to stay in good with your custodian. Making sure that you're taking time to keep the floors clean. That way they're not coming around and fussing at you for getting paint all over the floor. Being mindful of just protecting and respecting the work that they do so that way you can hopefully avoid getting your mural painted over over the summer. Manage your painters. So left-handed people will paint on the right and then right-handed people paint on the left. That way there's no confusion in terms of reaching into someone else's painter space. And then tall people up high, short people down low. This was a really important tip that I didn't think about when I was doing murals, but making sure your tall people are not like crouching down, and then your shorter people are not trying to reach up into these impossible spaces. But it keeps everything organized. It avoids paint getting dripped on someone's head, someone falling, accidents, and things like that. So you definitely want to have a supply station. One mural that we did, we had a cart that we just pushed down, so all the paint was organized on one shelf, the brushes on another shelf, and then like all the just miscellaneous things were on the bottom. So you want to have a station that will have pretty much everything you need, even if it's like rulers that you might need to kind of fix an area. A 5-gallon bucket is recommended. That way you can throw all the paintbrushes in there when you're done. And then if you have another person, or this could be possibly something that rotates, or maybe a small team of people that can wash the brushes at the end of the session. So everyone should have a job, right? Just to make sure this runs smoothly and as effectively as possible. Lynn put this great image in here that shows really, just an effective workspace. So you have your supply station here, you have your water bucket that's pretty much used at the end. Now, if you have enough water buckets, you could have like one water bucket per color. That may be overkill depending on how many colors you're doing, but that would also avoid, letting brushes just sit out, or that might also avoid brushes sitting out and just getting glued up, and then colors, mixing in the water, so on and so forth. Not required, but another recommendation possibly. Um, and then try not to leave your brushes in the cup so they can tip and spill over, like this right here. So try to make sure you have like either a palette or something, a water bucket that they can take the brushes out of, so that way they don't fall. The paint doesn't spill. All right, so here's one painted on board. Just about 40 people came through, and then this took only 2 hours, which is awesome. So definitely goes to say making sure you have a really great plan ahead of time, having everything organized. You can keep this really short and sweet. This is the one that we did on during our professional development session. The only thing she added later was adding a black Sharpie line in some areas to make the things really pop. But this took about 2 to 3 hours, and it was just all art teachers. This is another one that she did at her school. And then she did this, I believe it was last year. I really enjoyed seeing the process she shared on her social media. But I really like, this was a stairwell in her building, the kind of unfinished, painterly edge here. And then they just came in and did different hearts, right? So it was a really, really cool idea. And then most importantly, sharing everything on social media. So when it comes to the process, the idea, and then afterwards, encouraging people to come by and take selfies with the mural, um, is definitely a great tip to just kind of spread the love, about all the hard work that went into the mural. So thank you so much for tuning in to today's webinar. Again, my name is Sahira Dean. I'm the virtual PLC lead for high school 2D art. I'll see you in the next one.